There he is.
The plot thickens.
Bruce Hornsby, so great to meet you. Thank you so much. I'm going to try not to geek out because I am a huge fan of yours.
Geek away, man. You're right up my alley with that. I'm a music school geek. I'm a music school nerd from way back. So yeah, we're kindred spirits possibly in that.
Well, it's so great to speak with you. We'll get to the new album Flicted and the new single with Danielle Haim, which is beautiful, by the way. We'll start with the resume. We'll start with a resume and remind some people of so much success you've had. 3-time Grammy winner, 13 times nominated.
Yes, 10-time loser. 10-time loser. Now let's make that very clear.
True. You've sold over 11 million albums, over 275 million career streams. Insanity right there.
Okay, that's enough. That's right? Enough. You can stop. That's very nice.
No, and a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, not really. No, I actually inducted the Grateful Dead. I gave the speech inducting them, but I guess Garcia always called me the floating member, but I was never deemed an actual member. I was with them for about 100 shows, about 20 months, and then I would sit in with them when they were geographically nearby, DC, Charlotte, etc. Right. But no, so I'm really not in that.
You're not in the Hall of Fame?
No, but come on, man. We could go. That's. I am a voter, though. I'm partially to blame for whoever gets in, because I've been, for the past 25 years, I've been on that list of maybe, I don't know, 500 to 700 people who vote on who gets in and who doesn't. So so often what I vote for does not get in. Lately I voted for Devo and the MC5. I'm not voting on a popularity level. Right. I'm voting for people who I think had a difference, changed the music, were influential, say, and were strikingly original. And so a lot of my selections don't get by, but it's who cares? Whatever.
Yeah. Well, your day is coming. I would be surprised if that never happens.
Okay.
You posted a really great picture on Instagram last week. It was a picture. I guess we can call it a staff photo for Zappo Productions.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not against posting hilariously terrible pictures of myself on the internet, and that's one of them. Yes. Hopefully it'll pique someone's curiosity and they can go on wherever one finds such things. So Facebook, Instagram.
What was that about? What were you doing?
Well, my friend Chip DiMatteo, who ended, what's funny about that and relevant about that picture is that, okay, I'll tell you the quick story of Zappo. We were just kids. We were just prankster kids trying to see what we could get away with. So we started in 8th grade, and this went all the way through high school. So 5 years of this inanity. We would only book the worst bands. We're a band booking company, quote unquote. We book only terrible bands, and we reserved the right to name them. So we had playing the local sock hop, the Uncommon Cold, or Polynomial. This is what they called back then a chick singer band back in the PC days. So Polynomial and the Logarithms, Poly being the female lead vocalist, the psychedelic sound system. We had the benign tumor. We're just fooling around, and we sold worthless stock. It was just a big load. And so we always sort of, in hindsight, respected our sort of local National Lampoon-esque company, quote unquote. But now, all these years later, the other guy in the picture, Chip DiMatteo, my kindergarten friend since kindergarten, wow. We've been writing songs together for a good while. He's a very clever guy and very funny and just quick. I could tell you good DiMatteo stories that would illustrate that, but we don't have the time. Anyway, he and I wrote this song, Days Ahead.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he wrote almost all the lyrics. I wrote a couple of lines in the chorus. But yes, so we've been collaborators. So we're just doing Zappo Productions on a little different plane here, which is great, which is hilarious to us.
Were you yourself already making music?
Yeah, I was mostly a jock when you saw, but at that picture where I'm just looking like a greasy old hippie with the dirty ass white t-shirt, and John Lennon glasses reflecting in the sun. I was starting to move from hoops, which was my game, to the piano, and so that picture was taken our senior year of high school,
Okay.
and so right, I was starting to really get deeply involved in trying to learn how to play like Leon Russell or Elton John or Dr. John, and then Keith Jarrett, McCoy Tyner, Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, Bud Powell, Wynton Kelly. I just went deep, made a deep dive for many, many years. I mean, up until now, really, the deep dive has lasted until now because I'm still taking a deep dive in this way.
So we'll fast forward through college, which I know you went to several, and you made your way eventually to Los Angeles, where you were playing at I think a steak and ale house. I think I read or heard. And tell me about this meeting with the Doobie Brothers.
Well, right.
While you were out there.
It was before I went to LA. I went to LA because, Mike McDonald of the Doobie Brothers, we were fans of his. We liked Steely Dan. Look, we were coming out of jazz school, so we liked the pop music that was jazz influenced. Gradually moved on. I'd always loved in my high school and early college years, the band, the Dead, Joni Mitchell, Jackson Browne, etc. So my music gradually came back into that world, but with a little bit of influence from that a little utilization of the jazz language here and there. So that's a facile way to describe the style at which I arrived for my first record, and then kept on moving from there and pissing off my fans when I wouldn't make the same record every time. Right. So we found Mike McDonald in the Hampton Sheraton Coliseum. They were playing the Coliseum, and we knew they had a night off. We found him in the lobby, and we went up to him and said, "Hey, we're the baddest MFs in this town. You know, we're just cocky idiots." And basically, so we said, "Well, so you should come hear us." And he did. He came to hear us, and he was kind of stricken, kind of blown away with what we were doing. And so he invited us back to the hotel, and then we went to LA, and Mike was then singing on everybody's record under the sun. And so he would go to work on a session, and he'd take our demo tape and pass it around. So from Mike, we met some people, and then that led gradually to me, to Mike getting a staff songwriter job at 20th Century Fox as a staff songwriter. Sounds more impressive than it is. Fox, as a publisher, it's not really related too much to the film company, the vaunted venue, but still, it was someone who was willing to pay me to do this. And so I moved to LA. So Mike is really I call him my discoverer and founder. If there's a family tree of music biz contacts, it starts with him.
Amazing. And when you got there, how soon did it take until you ended up getting a record deal?
Yeah, well,
quickly or
no, not at all. And for the right reasons. Look, I made a demo out there when I first went out there with the producer David Foster, and David Geffen was just starting his company, and he didn't have a name for it yet. They came up with the incredibly creative name of Geffen Records subsequently, but he was trying to sign Donna Summer and Elton John and John Lennon at the time, and he ended up being successful with all those, signing all of them. They were the first artists on Geffen. But he heard our tape, and he had me over to his house. He was renting Cher's mansion in Bel Air. I went over there, and with my publisher at the time, at 20th, and he was there with one of his A&R execs, Carol Childs, and he asked me to play him a song, and I played him this song, and it was the acoustics in the room were such that made me sound better than I was, and he jumps up and says, "Bruce, I want you to make records for me." So I'd been there for 2 months. I thought, wow, this was sure easy. Well, that was June of 1980, and I got my record deal with RCA in April of '85.
What song did you play for him?
It's a song. It was a sort of a Mike McDonald-esque R&B tune called "Let This Be Love." Let this be love. You know, one of those songs of the day. You know, the don't think that. You know, it was not original, really. It really was not very unique, and that's what I had to find. It took me those years, and years before. It took me 7 years because it took me that time, a bit of a slow learner, to find my own voice that was unique to me. And so everything it happened for the right reasons, but I didn't get my deal till I was 30 years old.
Wow. The songs.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, that's good. That's good.
The songs that are on The Way It Is on that first album, were those, a lot of times an artist's first album, those songs have been around for a very long time before they get into a room and get to record them. Was that the case for you, or were those relatively new to you?
No, that was mostly not a cumulative collection through the years, picking the best from many years. Mostly those songs had been written within a year or two of recording them. So certainly the big songs that people know, the singles, Way It Is, Mandolin Rain, Every Little Kiss, and then subsequent Red Plains, the song I'm probably most proud of on that record. It's the last song on the record. On a compositional level, I'm proud of it. They were on my demo tape. Actually, those 3 songs were on the original tape. And I'm so proud to say that the man who signed me at RCA Records was the beautiful Paul Atkinson, who was the rhythm guitar player in the Zombies.
Oh, wow.
So what a provenance he has. And so, yeah, he was a beautiful guy. We lost him in the late 90s. But so, yeah, proud to say that and my story is a good story for people coming up trying to figure it out, because the least commercial tape that I made was the one that got me signed. It was purely a matter of, it was a tape that Paul Atkinson could not take out of his car. It just moved him, and he just couldn't stop listening to it. He didn't think it was necessarily commercial. He just loved it. And that's what you have to create, something that really moves someone, gets under their skin. So lucky me in that way.
When you look back on The Way It Is, the single, did you recognize at all what it would become at that time?
Well, no, because and not even what it became at that time, which was a big worldwide hit song. Everyone at RCA thought it was a B-side. And I'd make sense. It's a song about racism with not 1, but 2 improvised piano solos. That's the opposite of the standard formula.
Sure.
Maybe that's why it worked. I always call The Way It Is a novelty record in the best sense.
Yeah.
There's some, I guess, semi meat on the bone there lyrically. It's certainly about something very important. And the playing is atypical. And so it was a set, but I think it's easy to be Monday morning quarterback about this, but in hindsight, I guess I would say that maybe it went so far because it just was a sound that was different, but not too challenging. Didn't really bend the ear too much like I do now. And so that's that. But who would have guessed that it's 30-year subsequent hip hop life in the hip hop world.
Right. I mean, it's been sampled like what, 6 times or something like that.
Oh no, 20
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Now, some of those are EDM records, but that's tangentially related. It's groove music like hip hop, rap music is. But yeah, the most well-known, of course, being Tupac Shakur's Changes. Last year, the great young Chicago rapper Polo G made a beautiful record called Wishing for a Hero. It was kind of a hit for him. And we did a duet, piano and rap, which you can find it on YouTube. So anyway, yes, the post-hit life of The Way It is certainly quite something.
And I think your sophomore album, Scenes from the South Side, which is my personal favorite. I mean, a lot of people, when they put out the sophomore album, it's sometimes not as good. I think it's amazing to me. I think that album is fantastic and has such a sense of place to it too, as well.
That's why it's called Scenes from the South Side.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I guess I could, again, only one song was lying around before Jacob's Ladder. And we let Huey Lewis record that, and he had a big record with that earlier, a year before. So we put our version on, and it's not that great, but it's on there. But look, I think affirmation from, in this case, the general public, more than say the writers, the tastemakers, the arbiters of taste, the critics, that The Way It Is was not a big record in that crowd necessarily, but look, all the, again, affirmation, all the love we received from that's inspiring. It makes you think, gives you confidence. It makes you think that wow, okay, maybe I can do this. So these songs came out during that time. I get chills thinking about that time. Mike McDonald came over to my house in LA in the Valley, and I had demos because I wanted to play it for him because I was so confident of them. And he came in and he listened to this stuff. He says, man, this is really something. It reminds me of when I was in this moment, when I was having all this, again, affirmation from whoever. And it's true that that's a catalyst. And so you could, again, fast forward to this late career renaissance of mine on a creativity level, but also on an affirmation level. I mean, not so much in the general public, because I'm, in my dotage, as they would say. But the critical community has been around the world. The response was just rapturous to absolute zero from 3 years ago, the first of these 3 records. And so people wonder why another record came out the next year. And then 2 years later now with Afflicted, same reason. Wow, I'm getting flooded with such positivity about this, unexpected positivity. I knew I was doing something different and taking it in a way more adventurous musical play to a more, but you never know what the reaction will be, but the reaction was so positive. So same back then, same with Scenes from the South Side, and same here.
Yeah, I know. I would say with Afflicted, for me, my first listen, it was definitely different. It wasn't what I would consider like the traditional Bruce Hornsby sound. But on the second and the third listen, you start hearing little pieces of this or that, or some instrumentation here, a lyric here. It's very, very well done. It's a very good album.
Well, thank you so much. And Days Ahead is probably the song, I guess that would be the most reminiscent. It's sort of a classic ballad. It's me doing a bit of a Brian Wilson-esque feel. You're going for that feeling, Wilsonian, not Woodrow, Wilsonian-esque, Beach Boys stylings. And so I'm kind of not surprised that it's getting some great love out there. And so, but I got lucky with Danielle Haim. She consented to do a duet with me on that, along with Ezra Koenig on Sidelines on the record from Vampire Weekend. So look, I'm in this, again, late career moment where I'm working with all these great younger musicians from the indie world. It's sort of the reverse of when I first came out. All these heroes of mine started reaching out to me to play on their record, to write with them. I could name drop, but no reason. All of a sudden, I'm sort of painting myself into the mural I was looking on in my youth. And now so I was working with these older heroes. Now it's reversed, and now I'm the elder. Yeah. And all these younger people are reaching out to me. So again, lucky me.
Yeah. Well, and how cool is that too? Because you've become the hero for those people. They get to work with you, which is surely exciting for them.
Again, and that's another type of affirmation. It's another type of embrace. Yeah. And that can't help but inspire. And so that's why I'm so deeply involved at this point, 36 years after my first record.
Well, Bruce, this feels like a good place to wrap it up. The new album, Afflicted, is terrific. Days Ahead, the new single with Danielle Haim, and just a tremendous opportunity to talk to you. Thank you so much for giving me some time today.
Great to be here. Last time I played in Raleigh, I played a wedding with some of the Bon Iver guys, Justin Vernon, Brad Cook, and Phil Cook, who still live there.
That's right.
Ashley Christensen married Caitlin. I'm not sure how you say your last name, Golan. And so I was seen at the reception playing with Justin and the boys. And so, so that's my last, a great memory just 3 years ago in Raleigh. Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Chris. And nice talking to you. And appreciate you guys spinning this thing.
You got it. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.